June 12th meeting of the Village and Board of Trustees. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Sir, do you do a roll call of trustees?
Mayor Colby?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Doro?
Here.
Trustee Herzog?
Here.
And Trustee Murphy?
Here.
And Trustee Contino is absent.
He's on vacation, right. As usual, we've got a full agenda. Let me start off by announcing that Pat Murphy is the new deputy mayor. I want to welcome him to the position. I want to thank Peter. I thought it was a very enlightening experience for me as well. I hope for him. But I found with each of the trustees being as the deputy mayor, it's been enlightening for me. And I think that Peter brought a lot of the legal aspects that I don't have. And Pat is going to be a good bridge for us to make sure we've got continuity for the continuation of the sidewalk project, as well as we gear up for the improvement of the wastewater treatment plant. So looking forward to that, working with you on that.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right, good. I'd like to first do a swear-in of the new member of the planning board. So first off, I get the board to approve the resignation of Matt Anderson, who was on the planning board, and he had to resign because business has gotten good for him, so he really had done it the time to attend it. So can I get a motion to accept the resignation of Matt Anderson?
I'll make that.
In a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I want to welcome Doug Dundas. Doug, would you come up? We're going to swear you in.
Sure.
Doug had applied for this position a couple of times, and I'm really happy that he was willing to accept the position here. Sarah, we'll do the swearing in.
Yep, just 1 second. I'm ready. All right. Okay, if you raise your right hand and then repeat after me. I, then state your name.
I, Doug Dundas,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
planning board member
planning board member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
All right, good.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
So I'm glad you showed up. So obviously, Monday's meeting, were you just an attendee of the first planning board meeting and decide to leave right then?
Yeah, I was.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. So thank you so much, Doug, for volunteering for that position.
Happy to do it.
Great. Okay, next I want to talk about the minutes. So last month, Sarah sent out the minutes for, I think, a variety of the board meetings, the
Yes,
budget
there's 4 April. There's 4 April meetings.
Yeah, the 4 April meetings, executive sessions, and budget meeting. I know. Have you all had a chance to review those?
Yes.
Did you have a chance to review the minutes from last month's meetings you just sent out today? Any questions or corrections? Can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The minutes have been approved. All right, next to the vouchers. Now, this is a split of voucher set. Unfortunately, oh no, there you are. Okay, good. So there's 2 packages of vouchers. One is to close out the end of the fiscal year 23-24, which ended May 31st. And the second is the start of the new fiscal year 24-25. You can see the totals there break out between the general, some residual sidewalk expenses, and the water and sewer fund. Any questions regarding the vouchers? Those in there is the $3,000 deposit for the sidewalk work that Bob's going to do, right? Are you able to you want to hand carry that, or can we just mail it to them for the invoice?
Oh. I can ask them, I can just give it to them.
All right.
Whatever's easier.
It's easier for them to mail it.
Yeah, no.
All right, that's fine. Okay, good.
I'll tell them after the meeting.
Good. Don't got this week.
Okay.
All right. So any questions about the voucher totals? And the motion to accept the vouchers.
I'll make that
And
motion.
a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, vouchers are approved. Before we get into the department reports, I had something on the agenda I want to talk about. Just as we get into the upcoming election season, just want to review the yard sign restrictions. Because there were some questions that were raised a few weeks ago about it. And just to recap, we don't allow any signs on village property of non-sanctioned village events. All right? And so therefore, we will remove signs that are on village property and they're not village sanctioned events. Other than that, signs on private property, we're not going to be removing at all. The only thing I did ask last time, we did do, is move them away from the edge of the street for the sake of pedestrians and vehicle to allow good visibility. So in that case, we would move signs sometimes from one side of the sidewalk to the other. We wouldn't take the sign away. Now, any questions or concerns with that as far as a practice by the village? And Peter, there was a question before about the whether signs needed to say who they're from. Can you tell us what that story is?
I don't think we need to get into the legal aspects.
Okay,
That's
good.
not our.
Because I can't even tell if they got something on there anyway. All right. So any questions with, any issues with what I said as our guidelines, I guess I would say?
No.
Any questions from the public about that, any comments? Just to make sure we're clear up front before we get into the season. All right, good, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the fact that the Parade of Lights, we're going to need a new coordinator. Now, I did ask Dom to talk to the fire group to see if they're interested in picking up responsibility for that. So I'm going to hold off any more discussion about that until you have a chance to take that to your members at the end of the month.
We'll talk about that at our monthly meeting.
All right, good, because we will need a coordinator for this upcoming Parade of Lights. It'll be the first Friday of December. I'll make sure we're planning well ahead for that. Okay, good. All right, with that, then let's go into the department reports. Don?
Nothing too major. We had 14 fire alarms. EMS calls were up a little bit. A lot of lift assist with 58 calls for that. 2 motor vehicle accidents, 0 structure fire type calls, and 1 wires down. MBP went out 55 times. The 3 that you're seeing missing from EMS calls were the 3rd call in the districts. A couple were covered by Unionville's state ambulance, and 1 was covered by MDP's floating unit. Our ambulance went to 1 call and was able to transport 1 patient to the hospital. Fire department members were on the scene for 41 of the 58 EMS calls. Mutual aid, EMS, we went out 5 times, fire, we went out once. Received none for fire and 3 for EMS. Monthly drills, we're doing an extrication drill all night to assist the EMT class that's been going on here. They have to do a simulated car accident, so we're helping them out with that. And then with Unionville Fire Department, we're going to do some bailout.
Oh, good.
Get our yearly certification done for that. Next up, we have several new members. The ones that are doing fire and EMS are Dahlia Rios, Jenna Burns, and that's it for both. Leah Zamko is on the fire only, and John Barton is on the fire only. And then EMS only is Kathleen Barton, Jordan Kahn, and Shannon Gray.
I want to say congratulations. That is incredible. Nice job.
Nice job.
My thanks to you and the whole team for what you did. That's really good news. Really good news.
Most of them are very anxious to get going, and we already had 2 of them marching in a parade on Saturday. So,
All right. Great job.
any questions on that stuff?
No. Any questions from the trustees?
Awesome.
All right.
The only other thing I really have to bring up, there's a new OSHA mandate that's been put out for proposal, and it's really going to affect the fire service quite a bit. They're talking about double the training and changing a lot of the gear requirements, which that's more so my concern. They haven't said whether the training stuff that people will be grandfathered in, or if they'll sit there and go, no, everyone has to go get 150 hours more training now. So It's something that if you get something across your desk about, you know, oh, if you don't want to support this, write a letter, please write the
I
letter
think that's
saying
what
you
we're
don't
gonna
support
do,
this.
the society, the committee of supervisors and mayors, I think is gonna put together something.
Okay,
Because I did see that the Fishkill supervisor talked to me about the, I think Rondell,
yeah,
as the fire district down there, sent out a memo explaining what was going on.
yeah,
It was kind of extensive, hard to believe, but
yeah,
make it kind of.
it would be quite a bit of money to, pretty much they would be requiring every member to have 2 sets of in-date turnout gear.
Yeah,
The way we've been operating is 1 set in date, 1 set out of date, as you know, while the in date is getting washed or whatever, to go to a holiday to wear the other one. But that would require us pretty much buying the second set of turnout gear for about 30 people.
is this New York State is looking to make this, or is it?
OSHA, which
OSHA,
New York
okay.
State follows for
Okay.
guidelines.
All right, so
So we
OSHA.
would be pretty much required to follow it, otherwise if something happened, we would be liable.
All right.
A note on that, good friend of mine is now the president of FASME, and they're bringing it to the state legislature now.
Yeah,
They are.
To fight
everyone in the state is,
So he's really active in it, and you might get calls from
yeah.
him.
What's
Okay.
going on is they're trying to push the volleys out and bring the paid services in, where they could offer the paid services for it, and have all the training there, and all the 2 sets of gears and stuff like that.
So,
That's also good for us taxpayers.
Okay.
Money.
We are gonna do something about that, though, because of this.
all right. So that's all I've got right
Okay.
now.
Matt?
Actually, this was just brought to my attention. Is there possible that you can move the July village board meeting to the village hall? We'll be setting up for the block party.
I will work on making that happen. Okay.
And your invitations went out for the parade. You just have to let me know if you're attending or not. I got your email.
Okay, fine.
Or, yeah, Tim. That's all
Okay.
I have.
All right, good. What about the truck going on to for auction?
Oh, I forgot about that. Truck has been listed on the auction site. July 20th is when it ends, and what were we up to today?
2,800.
2,800 today.
All right. And it's on until when?
July 20th.
20th, okay. Any questions for the fire guys? I think we need to make official, we need a board resolution to accept all these new members. So if you have a motion to accept all the members identified by Dom,
I'll make that motion.
in a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. That's just for insurance coverage. Dotting i's and crossing t's. Okay, Georgia, I'm sorry I skipped you, please.
No
Give us an update of the county update.
Yep, so if you remember when I came here earlier in the year, I had mentioned that it was kind of a slow time for us because we were transitioning with a new county executive and new legislative chair and new legislative leadership. So we've had a few months and we are back at it full bore. Specific to Dom, I just want to let you know that the colleagues in the legislature, all of us crafted a letter about the hours of training and the turnout gear, and we've already sent it to Governor Hochul and OSHA. And I think we had unanimous support from the legislature. So we sent that letter out along with some, a different letter we sent out asking for some additional tax exemption for active firefighters as opposed to what's already on the book. So we've been very active in that regard. I understand that you had a great meeting with the county executive 911 response, along with, I think, Pine Plains and Stanfordville,
Right.
about doing some regional things. So I'm sure you know, but I don't know if everybody else knows, the RFEI for ambulance service, for one ambulance service for the county, went out. We received some expressed interest, and we are looking forward maybe in the next couple months crafting the contract and awarding a contract just to get some of this emergency ambulance service some relief. As you know, across the county we're going up to multiple calls, multiple agencies, mutually, constantly, and our response times are not great for emergency services. So we're really just trying to kind of put a plug in it and see what we can do to increase our service response times. So along with that, in our meeting that we just had on Monday, we did authorize $200,000 grant for fly cars. I do not believe Millbrook has a fly car.
Right.
Other agencies do, And the fly car is basically the first car on response. When you can't get an ambulance there right away, you can get trained EMTs in a fly car that show up first, basically to get the patient prepped for when the ambulance does arrive. So we've offered a $200,000 grant to fly cars to enhance some of the equipment on the fly cars so that they can be really most ready to act. So we're trying to do anything we can to relieve some of the long response times in the short term while we're waiting for a more comprehensive emergency services response. In that, Dana Smith came, because we had that on the resolution on the agenda, so he talked about the communications. If you guys remember, I came to you in like 2023, 2022, and talked about how the county was putting $20 million into 14 upgraded towers and some new towers to get a full communication scope across the county. That project is on budget, on time, and I believe it goes live in 2025. And it will give every piece of turnout gear to the Millbrook Fire Department and the trucks a radio that will be with the county, and every agency in the county will get that as well. The one radio per turnout gear. So that will really cut any blind spots in the county, and I believe it's also for the police officers. They will also get a radio, and so everyone will be on the same system, on the same channel, communicating in the same manner to really help communications for emergency response. So that goes online 2025. It has a long test period, obviously, because it's a huge upgrade, but I believe it will go in the fall of 25. It'll be widely being used. What else came up? We issued in the budget amendment last year. I put a budget amendment forward for $100,000 for micro grants for veterans. It was passed unanimously by my colleagues, and the guidance for that and the application process is now open. It's on the county website, dutchesscounty.gov, and they're micro grants for veteran agencies. So I think if anyone's looking for money for veterans, they should look at the grant opportunity and see if they have a project that fits within it. I believe the grant application process is open for another few weeks, so there's plenty of time, and there are micro grants being offered. So look at those. And I guess the last thing I'll tell you about is I came to you guys last year about the 26 Oakley Street project, which was the property that the county purchased to do a homeless shelter in the 5th Ward of the city of Poughkeepsie. We put the project on hold because the construction costs came back so high. We applied to the state for a grant through the Office of Transitional Disabilities, and we were awarded $13.5 million. So that project is back on. We will be accepting the grant dollars in July. And more than a homeless shelter, we will be really using it as more a transitional supportive housing with wraparound services to get people really off the street into more permanent housing. It will house, I believe at this point, we're still finishing the documents, but I believe it'll house 100 people. And it will give full services on site with case management, addiction services, case management, all happening right there at that one-stop shop. So it was really good news that we got the money, and so we're going to move forward with it.
Nice. Where is it at now?
26 Oakley Street. It's in the 5th Ward of the city of Poughkeepsie.
Okay. So that was what was proposed before, but then you said we're on hold. All right.
It did go on hold because I think we had budgeted like $8 million, and our good documents came back at like $13 million.
All right. Wow. So the state grant covers the whole cost?
It does.
Wow.
We purchased the building with ARPA dollars.
Okay.
So it will cover the cost. As far as we know right now, it still hasn't gone to architectural review yet, but it should cover the costs.
Okay, great. Going back to the EMS, I sent a letter of support to I signed a letter that Supervisor Serino sent to the state to improve the benefits for EMS. And I thought I saw a note that said the state legislature passed that, which was going to double the allowable tax deduction, tax credit for New York State for EMS workers. Is that true?
Is it for the, was on the state tax?
Yeah,
or
state
on the
tax.
county tax?
This is a state tax credit. Previously it was $200 per volunteer or $4 for a family.
Mm-hmm.
That was doubling?
Right, so that's a letter of support that we sent. I will check and see if it's passed through the legislature.
Okay.
I can can certainly check that.
Because I was surprised because it was like 2 weeks after we sent the letter, although I know legislature was just wrapping up.
Right, that's what I was thinking, they're out of session, but I can check.
But I think it happened right away after the letter was sent, so, okay, please let me know, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I will.
It's really good news for the volunteers. Okay. Any questions for Deirdre? Thank you for the feedback, appreciate it. Okay, Chief Dworkin.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So calls for service went up from previous month until last month. Under public service, there was 1 lockout, 1 foil, 3 lost found property. Under community policing, we have 16 foot patrols, 6 school checks. Traffic was 4 parking tickets, 4 parking complaints, 5 vehicle and traffic complaints, 3 speed details. Assist other agencies is 1 with the New York State Police, 13 assist with EMS. Under police activity, there was 1 trespass, 1 disorderly conduct, and 1 larceny. 2 Town of Washington court details totaling 5 incidents reported for the month. In addition to that, there's been some grant activity that I recently became aware of. There's the grant that Sergeant Witt discussed at the last meeting with Trustee Contino, and then December of 2023, the department applied for a law enforcement technology grant through the Division of Criminal Justice Services. Last month, we received notification that we were awarded $129,000. So that money will be used for improvements and upgrades to the department's infrastructure, including computers, computer server. Originally, the grant was designed for specific equipment upgrades, but I think computer upgrades are probably more needed at this time. So I'm going to apply to DCJS for a grant modification. We'll see how that goes. I'll have more information in the future on that. Also learned today that the Bureau of Justice Assistance extended their body-worn camera grant. All of the officers in the department need new body armor, so we can apply to BJA for 50% reimbursement for all of the new armor.
All right. Now, the first grant you mentioned, that was the $10,000 we got from New York State through D. Barrett, I believe. I think you already ordered that equipment, is that correct?
I believe that that's been ordered.
Okay, fine.
And that's police protective equipment.
Protective equipment. So this $129,000 is on top of that?
On top of that,
Okay,
yes.
all right. All right, very good. All right. Anything else to report?
That's it.
I saw in your report the speed sign. You had shown, someone showed me the report of the speed sign activity.
So the speed sign was set up on Church Street from May 16th to May 31st. If you look at that report, what we noticed is there's a
here it is. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was included. Yeah. Go ahead.
There's a considerable amount of speeding in the area of 10 to 20 miles per hour at about 3 p.m. every day. So that's going to require some enforcement. Outside of that, it's sporadic, so nailing that down for enforcement would be a little bit tricky, but we know that period of time, 3 p.m. is an optimum time. It's going to require some enforcement. So we will get officers out there to handle that.
Okay, good. Now, currently you put the speed sign over on Parks Village Road, right? Because there was a concern about the traffic not doing the full reroute from the bridge being out. Instead of going up to Franklin, they're cutting through on Parks Village Road.
Yes, sir.
How's that? Do you have a report on that yet, or is that maybe early?
No, that's complete. We did a speed survey from June 3rd to June 10th. That 10-day report. It doesn't show any high-risk speed, which is 20 plus. It shows very little low-risk, medium-risk speed, which is 10 plus. We're going to look at that a little bit closer and probably do another survey in a couple of weeks and see if the results are the same. If it does, I believe what we're seeing here is a result of the appearance of speed because of the nature of the roadway, and there's more of an appearance than there's actually a problem, which really has to be addressed with a lower speed limit. Outside of that, it really doesn't require enforcement. It's just speaking with the residents and explaining what our results are and how it relates to the vehicles traveling on that road.
The only part of the problem is the amount of traffic has increased. if I understand what the residents are saying.
I have to go back and look at previous studies to do a comparison,
Okay.
but that's certainly a possibility.
All right. I know that you can put a car on Church Street to monitor and issue tickets. On Hart's Road, that's kind of difficult, right? Because that's not much of a place for the police to park, as I understand.
There's not many places, but Sergeant Witt went out and spoke with some of the residents and received some compliance. They were willing to allow us to use their driveway and private
okay.
property to
All right,
station our
good.
patrol cars, so that'll work out
All
for us.
right, good. All right, great. Okay, any questions for Chief Dworkin?
Just on speeding more generally, did we ever hear back from the state?
Now, jury's alive. Unfortunately, it's a different arm of DOT than the one I called it to ask about fixing the potholes, because they were right on it. And so, my second call, they were right on. My first call, anyway, it took 2 calls. And so, no, I'm not got anything from other than that. And that's as of last month, I asked. Okay, I'll let you know as soon as I hear it. And let me tell you, if they come back and reject it, I'm going to ask for some legislatures in New York State to help change their mind on it, because that was something that's not. But let's wait for it, see what they say.
I would just,
No, this is the whole village. What we're going to do is we change all the works on the village other than Franklin. We've asked for a change by DOT on Franklin to make it consistent across the entire village. That's what we're doing.
for Chief Dworkin's benefit, just with like the increase in activity in the village, especially on weekends around the summertime in Millbrook, some of the parking is just, I've never seen anything like it. Parking on the wrong side of the street, parking in yellow, with the farmer's market. Texted you a few times, Tim. I mean, just wild stuff. So just FYI to you and the team, because it could get a little dicey sometimes. So.
We'll keep an eye out for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we try to make some accommodations just because there are like for the vendors who are staying parked nearby. But you're right, there are certain situations.
Not even like them, like other
Let's be
areas.
safe.
Yeah.
You get too close to a corner, that kind of stuff. It's a safety concern.
Sure.
You know, we want to accommodate the vendors as much as we can, but safety is first hand. So yeah, if you guys can keep an eye on that, which is a good suggestion.
We can certainly do that.
Okay. Anything else? Any comments from the public? Yes.
I have a question. Is it not, the farmer's market actually takes away the parking that's necessary for the farmer's
Right.
market? Is there not any way to move the farmer's market onto the village green so that would free up the parking?
That's a question for Tribute Garden. You know, it's their parking lot as well as it's their green.
Oh.
Okay. So I can ask them, but I don't know that that's something we want to do anyway. Because let's face it, those tents that go up and down, it would damage the green. You know, so that'd be a concern. But I can ask. Can't hurt to ask.
It's good thought, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, Bob. This is Bob's solo, or his what do you call it? His final report.
Last hurrah.
Last call.
Your last hurrah.
Swan song, I like that.
Make it a good one.
Last hurrah. Okay, some things that have just come up. Well, I want to thank the town for doing all the roadside mowing. Did quite a bit today and for the last week or so. We don't have the equipment to do that, so they take out of their time and do that for us. As you mentioned, the state was out all day filling potholes on Franklin. They did a great job. They did more than we had pointed out to them. I
Actually,
believe,
getting the cones out early in the morning so they can take care of that. Because
Yeah.
before, they've been here numerous times and they couldn't because cars were parked where the potholes were. So you doing that was able to do their job.
yeah, that worked out well.
Yes, it did.
I believe next year they're going to drag box.
He said maybe later this summer.
Later this summer?
He wasn't convinced, but yeah, possibly later this summer.
Okay, that'll help a lot. It's not the same as doing the whole milling it
He
and
was
paving
very
it, but
non-committal about redoing Franklin.
yeah,
which is needed.
you'll have to watch on that. along with doing some roads on August 27th, a tentative date to chip seal, oil and stone Maple Avenue, all of Maple Avenue. The Washington Avenue excavation bids, I'm still waiting for 2 to come in. Excavating all the storm drains and catch basins in preparation for paving the road next year. Also,
So we have one quote in hand.
yeah,
You've asked, Sun Up. And do you have a third one that you've asked?
I have a third one in mind. Yeah.
Okay, fine. All right, fine.
In coordination with the oil and stone, we're gonna have the street sweep, the village street sweeping will be done. Try and get it as close to that date as possible so that that street is clean to do the oil and stone. We also purchased a 125 gallon water tank to be put into the back of one of our trucks for the watering of the trees, the new trees, and any other things that might need to be done. It's portable, so it can come in and out. It's not something that's going to take up the truck for
What's the capacity of it? What capacity?
125.
125 gallon, okay.
That's really about the lowest, the smallest that
All right.
would work. And lastly, the 2011 truck, sander, and plow will be going out to auction. He hasn't come down yet to take pictures, but I imagine that'll be done sometime in July.
So it's ready for auction? Okay.
Yeah,
I know you guys are fixing it up and painting it.
yeah. It's a good deal.
All right.
That's other than we know that 5 trees and stumps removed at various locations, and right now the guys are doing all tree trimming and roadside trimming and things like that.
All right, fine.
That's it.
Any questions for Bob?
So we're definitely not paving Washington.
No, we're gonna do it two-step. This year we'll do the repair and replacement of the storm drain, and then come pave it next year.
Oh, the water valves too, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
Water
Well,
Water
sounds like
valves,
the
and also there's going to be a water line that's going across
yeah, the
from
new building, right.
our lot to
To the main.
the main.
Yeah, so the idea is that we'll prep it this year. Unfortunately, that means that when they dig up the storm drain, they'll have to put blacktop back on top of it.
Yeah, they'll be doing that.
Yeah.
That's including blacktopping, so it
Right,
won't be
temporary
rough.
blacktop until next year.
Yeah.
All right.
And you'll have all new catch basins.
Any questions from the public?
Bob, whatever happened to the taking down of the tree on our hill? You were supposed to have out on the limb do it. It was brought up last year.
Yeah.
Think it was dead?
It keeps, the branches keep falling off of it. Every time we get a high windstorm,
Mike,
there's
you want
branches being picked up.
to have the committee take a look at it?
Yeah, I can put that on the list of trees before any trees come down. The shade tree members take a look at it and then make a recommendation one way or the other. So
Which could be trimming. I know we had a tree back on Elm that was doing the same thing, dropping brush up all the time. So they went and just took out all the dead limbs.
I mean, that is a village tree, right? Do we even need the committee to look at that?
I'm sorry?
It's village property, right? So do we need the shade tree?
Yeah.
To opine on it?
I'm sorry?
Do we need the shade tree committee to opine on a village tree?
Why not? Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
I mean, because the question is, you said we said we would take it down?
Yeah, last year. You
Okay.
said out on the limb was going to come and take it down.
I don't know.
Bob
that.
actually said it.
I'm sorry?
Well,
Bob actually said it in one of his reports.
and that got squashed. So
Okay. We're trying to not take down trees if we don't have to, because of cost. But we are trimming them if that does suit the requirements.
Yeah, just for review, so people understand exactly how this works. If if any trees that are considered quote unquote our responsibility because they're either within 25 feet of the center of the road or on village property, then what happens is Bob says to the shade tree committee and to the people on it, go look at the tree, make sure it's that is a doornail. If there's any question about it, we bring in a volunteer professional arborist who's certified, who then says, yeah, it needs to come out, or no, it just needs to be trimmed, so there's no, there's no question. And then it's done. And basically, we turn it over to out on a limb to either do one or the other. And I apologize if somehow or other that tree is going to slip through the cracks, but I will make sure it's addressed in the next one way or the other. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Bob? All right, thanks. Mike, why don't you take this chart? This is the list of trees we recently planted.
Okay, well, we've, the Shade Tree Committee made recommendations on all of these to the village, but the village is in charge of basically doing any tree planting. The shade tree is just simply advisory. So with our budget of $4,800 that we had for 2023-24, and with a generous contribution by Tribute Gardens, we've planted 14 trees since Arbor Day. You can see that on Main Street we've got 5 locations. That's due, I said, to a Tribute Gardens donation. And you can see the trees planted at the, I know I'm using terms like at the alpaca store, but meaning along.
Those are the 5 we took out for the sidewalk project.
Yeah, and those were the 5 that were removed for the sidewalk project, and they're back. You've got 2 elms, one is by the alpaca store, one by the Millbrook Diner. You've got 2 red maples, one by the Deidre's Flower Shop, and the other one just up a little bit by near the insurance agency. And then there's Japanese Alcova between the China Tokyo and Stewart's. So those are the 5. And also, using money from our Shade Tree Commission and with permission of either of property owners, we planted 2 maple trees at 126 Maple Avenue, one at 108 Maple Avenue, one at 62 Maple Avenue, one on Washington across from Hunt Harvest, one by a linden tree by the cul-de-sac at the end of Maple, a tulip tree by the end of Maple, and a crabapple tree by the highway garage. All of those are getting ordered either by the village or by property owners throughout the summer. And we have the one tree we planted called Valley Forge Elm Tree on Arbor Day, and that is also being ordered by the Shade Tree Commission at this point. Okay, so I feel pretty good about that. That's probably the most trees we've planted since we had to replant more than 20 trees on Maple Avenue and Central Office. Came in and whacked a bunch of trees and took them out, and we were left with nothing but stumps. So I feel like we made the most thanks to donations and wise use of our shade tree funds. And I would encourage any village residents who would like a tree within, near the front of their property, within 25 feet of the center of the road, to send a letter of interest. And when the Shade Tree Commission determines in 25 what sites are available, then we can use our budget to be able to do the same thing for any homeowners who would like to have a tree in their property. We usually try to prefer people who have had trees removed to get first choice and something like that, but in some cases, the homeowners don't want to see a tree put back for whatever reasons they have, and therefore, we want to make sure the money in the shade tree account gets spent for people who want the trees, and they're going to take good care of it. So that's anybody who wants a tree in their front yard, a village resident, don't hesitate to send a letter of interest. We'd be happy to.
Okay, any questions about that?
You do. Is the committee at all involved in looking into the caterpillar problem this year? We're seeing the elms and oaks devastated by caterpillars.
Well, we have a dual-edged problem. First of all, the as everybody I'm sure is aware, because they've been getting hit by them constantly, these things travel in the air. They're not exactly just on the ground. And despite information I've gotten from cooperative extension, you can wrap burlap around the tree or something to keep them from coming back up the tree if they come down the tree at night, but you can't do anything about flying worms that are going to get into the tree and in some cases stay put. So, and we can't spray, obviously, because that would create a public hazard. So it's difficult. The advice we've gotten primarily for homeowners is that if you have the trees, if you have caterpillars on the trees at this point, the best thing to do is to remove them, put them in soap and water at the base of the tree, and also spray, if you want to spray with soap and water. Bob Collocola came out and sprayed a pin oak for us the first 2 weeks with just simply detergent, and we've been pretty lucky that most of the leaves seem to be still intact, even though it's an oak. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. So I would say that's the best advice we can give homeowners right now, and keep our fingers crossed that we don't have complete defoliation, which I've seen in some trees on my street and other streets. Private citizens are going to have to determine for themselves if they're going to spray and then put signs out saying they've used pesticide. And certainly as a village, we can't go out and do that. That's not possible.
Can I just offer, Carey Institute is also a really great resource for the spongy moth infestation. They've done education programs. They have been doing ongoing updates on their website and social media. My understanding is it is kind of a cyclical thing, and the hope is that it can be multi-year, but that we might be getting towards the end of it. I've seen reports that they're starting to see there's a fungus that can sort of take hold and decimate the population, and there are signs that that might be starting to do its work. So, and most of the deciduous trees will survive unless they already have a bunch of other problems. They just look terrible.
Right. Yeah, and the other, I think that's true. And I also think we're in the second year of this infestation, and the fact that we're in our second year, the general range of time when they are at their worst is 2 to 3 years. That's not to say that they totally disappear, but we're probably at the height of whatever we're going to get, and it's going to dissipate, and keep our fingers crossed come next spring that whatever trees were affected will come back.
Yeah, I think the other thing people can do is, so when they become moths, right, they lay those egg masses on the trees.
The big white masses, yeah.
If it's low enough, you can scrape them off and just remove them. Obviously, if they're high up, you can't really do that, but every little bit helps.
And it's the same system in terms of if you scrape them off, then there's no guarantee that the eggs still won't be there. So they say scrape them off and have them go in the soapy container underneath the tree that you set up. So basically that does the trick. But that's the best we can offer at this point. Any other questions concerning trees that I can help? I promised my kids and Marianne I'd stand up for this, but when they heard about the 14 trees, this is my Father's Day present.
Let's see it.
So,
all right, good job.
Hopefully I speak for the trees, not puffing out my chest, but I speak for the trees.
Just one final comment about the highway. I have put in calls for contract services to go and line the sidewalks. Bob had gotten a quote last year from a company out in Buffalo. I think he said you're all right, Bob.
Yeah.
And we want to re-up that. I need to see the new budget first to understand how it's going to fit. And the second thing is, Bob gave me a name of a contractor who is available for doing single pad replacements.
Okay.
And he just wanted to come out on Friday, just take a look at the, what we're talking about. Just to get an idea of that, yeah. I don't know from you whether the guy is doing our sidewalk up on Maple.
Talk.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Like in the first bit, he's interested.
Yeah.
All right,
Of course.
but that's of interest to me as well.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, we can give a couple hours.
yes, one won't hurt. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, Bob, that's it?
Other than, you wanted to talk about the tennis courts, or is that,
Peter's gonna cover that, right?
okay.
Yeah.
You wanna do that now, or, oh, it's on the
No,
list?
later.
Later, that's right, it's on the agenda later. Okay, Scott.
All right, we're on the water for May. All sampling and maintenance was performed. Had a health department inspection, no problems there. You should be receiving the letters shortly. I got an email the other day.
All right, good.
Inspected the new water service line install on North Avenue and repaired damaged curb box on Maple Ave.
Well, that's that house up north that's going through the major,
They're putting in a garage.
update, yeah, okay, fine, all right, fine. Okay. Any questions about the water report?
I just had one question.
Yes.
A resident on Washington Avenue in front of Hunt Harvest had said that, I guess there was some work done in that part of the sidewalk where either a water valve had been installed or repaired, whatever, and that's at this point gravel, right? Is that repair done?
The water repair is all done.
Water repair is all done?
The sidewalk, when they pour sidewalks, that'll be done.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry, where's this at?
The section sidewalk, right?
Yeah,
It's item 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, there's item 4 in a space where, in front of Hunt Harvest. And,
Oh, okay.
And the owner of the building had come to me and said, this was broken up and done, and what are their plans to get the sidewalk repaired? And I said I would bring it up and find out where it is, quote, on the list of when it's gonna be done, so, yeah.
Okay. All right, fine. All right. Anything else? Okay. Sewer.
All right. All sampling and maintenance was performed. We had the generator service by Kinsley Power. Earth Care haul sludge. And we've been cleaning the filter and sludge beds. And the work on Bennett Pump Station has started. Fine. Then I hope it'll be done next week.
Really?
It's all pouring to that.
Yeah.
Concrete truck there.
Or repair, okay, fine.
Generator today.
I just need to have, give Joe Spagnuolo some head up, some lead time for when he's needed to take the generator and the pump.
He's scheduled to pick up the pump on Monday for me.
I'm sorry?
He's scheduled to,
Oh, you've already done that?
not the generator, because I haven't spoken to the electrician. No one's contacted me, so.
Okay,
But as far as the pump station, which is our responsibility, I already contacted Joe.
oh, great,
So
okay,
he's gonna put it on our trailer and we're gonna bring it down there.
on Monday.
Yep.
All right, good.
So as far as the generator, I don't know where the electrician's at with that.
All right, fine. All right. Oh, but that's what you're putting the pad for the generator.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Our next door neighbor to the Village Hall is having sewer problems again?
Yep. We'll be back there tomorrow.
Is that right? Okay. All right. Same problem, something different? You don't know?
Above or below?
I thought.
Yeah, I suspect it's the same problem or in the same area, so we'll know until we dig it up.
Sure.
At this point, we're going to have to dig right back to the main and,
All right.
figure it out.
Well, the main is just over the fence line, right? It's pretty close to the
6 feet off the fence.
6 feet?
We're right at the fence line where the issue is, so from there to the main is 6 feet, so
All right. Something.
always.
Any questions for Scott for the sewer report? We had a meeting with Ty and Bond scheduled for this afternoon, but they canceled to next week, just to get an update of what's going on there. I do want to get the board's approval to a resolution for giving me the authority to submit and sign a grant application for a WQIP grant That's in the attachment there. I'll just read that. So whereas the village has established a public benefit of the wastewater treatment plant upgrade project, whereas the project includes rehabilitation, upgrading the existing equipment at the wastewater treatment plant, whereas the village has the opportunity to apply for grant funds from the New York State Water Quality Improvement Project, which may fund up to $25 million or 25% of the total project cost. And whereas the project cost is estimated at $9.7 million, whereas the village is prepared to contribute matching funds to the Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program, therefore be it resolved, the village of Millbrook is authorized to submit the WQIP grant application. The mayor of the village is authorized to sign the WQIP grant application, and the village agrees to provide the matching funds required for the QIP project through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program. Any questions from the trustees about this resolution? Any questions? Yes.
The date's wrong on the bottom. I don't know if it matters.
Yes, it is. Let's make sure we change that.
Oh,
Good catch.
yeah.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience, the public about this? We already got a grant from EFC for a RIA grant for 25% and a 30-year zero interest loan for the remainder. And this is to get a second grant to further help with the funding of this almost $10 million project. All right. Okay, so if there are more questions, then can we take a roll call?
Mayor Calloway,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Murphy,
Aye.
Trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Trustee Contino is absent, Trustee Doro.
Aye.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, let's move on to the building report. Okay, Sarah.
All right. So building is pretty busy this time of year. Issued 5 permits in May for building, 3 signed permits, and municipal search. Total fees collected $3,898. Planning and zoning, they had a meeting on June 10th for Rear and Briggs and 92 Maple, and I believe there's going to be some sort of follow-up meeting. And then the new fee schedule is in place as of, you guys passing it last month.
Right.
I believe they just got another referral, I think for 1618 Alden, but I don't have anything yet for that.
Okay.
And then short-term rentals, we received 1 application and they had their inspection and they were cleared, so we only have issued 1 permit so far. And then we have 1 that we see is in process, so I believe they have to submit a couple of documents and then they're going to schedule their fire inspection.
All right, so the first one went through very smoothly. They used TakeGov, they had all their documentation, and Justin responded quickly to get the inspection done.
Yeah.
All right, that was good. So
Yeah.
the process works evidently.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Just on that,
Yes.
Tim, as I told you the other day, we're all set up on Granicus. We've gone through all the trainings. If you want to log on at some point, if you're going to involve or want to help out, otherwise Justin or Ken should definitely get on there because we can see all the properties and then you can designate, oh, this is in compliance and these aren't. So it's a good way to tell where we are from
Great.
things.
I'd like Justin to have I'd like you to have access to it, just so you're in control. But Justin should be the primary person, so I'll talk to Justin about that. Good suggestion, yeah. Mary, what Granicus is telling us versus what we've got in the system.
Right.
Yeah. How long did we say we're going to give people to actually get a permit?
And well, if they're in Granicus as active, I think he said 30 days.
Is that 30 days? Okay, fine.
So July 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Quick question, if, I know we had a limited amount of applications, if we were gonna accept and potentially approve, if we come in below that, will people after July 1st be able to apply or under the?
Apply now.
I know, but I'm saying after July 1st.
Until we hit 15, they can apply whatever they want.
That's what I was trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, all right, good.
The point is that if they're active on Granicus, they need to apply or get off Granicus by July 1st.
Right.
And I'll follow up with adjustments. Okay, Sarah, good. What else?
That's all I have for building.
All right. Any questions for building? Other than that? All right.
Okay. So as for treasurer, I have the bank balances you have before you. So obviously this is for May, so you won't see all the taxes that are currently rolling in. You'll see that next month. That next month's report. And I don't think I saw anything.
I see that the trees haven't come out of the tree replacement program yet.
Well, this is all May stuff,
It's
right?
all May, okay,
Yeah.
fine, yeah, all right.
New York class is also doing.
I just want to see that the H&L Trust still has almost $18,000 in it. Okay. And the New York class, the next page.
Yep. And that's still rolling along, doing well. Next month, you'll have how how the category says fiscal year to date, so obviously that'll be reset for June. You see that in the New York class? You see a category? Or no?
So look at that number there. The total interest earned fiscal year to date, $65,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now a lot of that, for example, what goes to the reserve for the fire truck, that's separate. We don't touch that.
Right.
But the other accounts go straight to the bottom line. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And we were able to keep quite a bit. We were able to keep the tax account pretty heavy there too, so it earned quite a bit of interest.
All right.
While we were waiting,
Yeah.
for the new season.
Yeah, that's because it's so fluid, be able to get the money in and out. So
Yeah.
you keep it until the day before you need it. So-
Right.
All right, good.
And then it is our new fiscal year, so happy new fiscal year. Mailed out the tax bills on 5/30 to date, which I did some before I got here. But in the report, you'll see that we've collected $200,495.96. Completed bank recs through April, and then the AV equipment for the meetings has been ordered, and hopefully we'll get trained on it. And maybe not July's meeting because I guess we're moving, but to the village hall. But maybe we'll do it for
That's right.
August
Okay.
meeting.
All right,
Yeah.
fine. So this is the equipment. There's going to be a large screen TV and improved audio equipment, so that the reception for those watching on YouTube is
Right,
much
yeah.
improved, as well as the people in the audience.
Right.
So it's going to be a big step up for us. I'm looking forward to this.
Yes. Moving to the 20th century.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Right.
And then I had 3 FOIL requests.
So we had 3 FOIL requests, all of them police related. One was that was a generic one that Sergeant Witt was working on. I want to make sure you follow up on that one. That was tell us everything about the police, and I think Sergeant Witt had a plan. Probably to respond to that. So please just follow up with him on that.
Yes.
And the other 2 were information asking about the hiring of a chief of police, which I think Sarah we're working on, right?
Correct.
So no seeing off anybody's back. We haven't had it for. Well, maybe we do when you don't tell us about it, but we got inundated with 3 in the last month.
It's been pretty FOIL heavy.
Really?
The past couple of
Oh,
months,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, but normally it's not as bad.
Yeah, okay, fine. Anyway, it is what it is, okay.
And that's all I had for Treasury.
All right, thanks. Okay, let's go on to the agenda. First off, an update from Trustee Herzog on the sidewalk completion project.
Okay. The ramp is done. At this point, that was one of the last construction aspects of it that had to be completed. And the only thing we're waiting for now is what's called the striping. So the lines that go across Franklin Avenue, the old lines have to be ground down, and then the new lines put in so that they match the 2 ramps on either side of the road. Contracting is supposed to be setting that up. We've been in contact with them a half a dozen times, and they keep on saying, yes, it's gonna get done by the end of the month. I just reminded the mayor that the contract with, the contract that we have for the grant with Dutchess County expires at the end of the month on June 31st. And I've talked to people at Dutchess County Planning, and they've made it quite clear that if we don't have it done by July 1st, we can't call them a few days ahead of time and say we need an extension. If you need an extension, you need to have an extension a couple of weeks in advance. It's not an easy process. So Sona has to step up, or else we're going to be in a situation where we're going to end up with complications on getting our money.
Yeah, so I talked to the head of Sonic last week. He promised me it was not a problem, it will be done. I said, by the way, if we get paid, the rest of the work is continued as well.
Right.
And so he said it would not be a problem. I just need to call him again and remind him to find out what date is to be done. It's not a big deal. It should take him, I don't want to say a day, but something.
Yeah, I know. Generally, I've been through this once before with in 2017 when we did the intersection of Church and Franklin, and they generally come in the middle of the night after there's almost no traffic. They do their job, and then, you know, the next morning by 5 o'clock, it's done, it's dry, and there aren't any complications.
Let me just verify what I heard from Dutchess County. It's true that all we need to do is have the work completed by June 31st, right? The billing and reimbursement doesn't have to occur until later, right?
Yeah.
So the work has to be done by June 30th.
Yeah, work has been, and DOT has already said twice, because I've spoken with the representative a couple of times, he said, I'm ready to go as soon as that striping is done, because then I can bless it, and the DOT will be very happy and done. So just sign-up's got to get moving.
I will follow up with the Sonic again. All right?
Okay.
The next one is the next steps for the CDBG. And Deputy Mayor Murphy and I have a meeting scheduled for Monday with representatives from Dutchess County. They're going to talk to us about the program, and we're going to show them what we're planning to do as far as the north side of Franklin.
Yep, we meet with Tom Harvey the following week.
Right, okay, good, yep. So Deputy Mayor said a walk along with Tom Harvey is a good next step. So we'll find out what the grounds are. It's going to be something like applications aren't going to be open until like the end of this year, is what I understand. Maybe Deidre knows more.
I don't know what the application process is.
Okay, so that's what I heard.
Timeline is, but I can
One of the
find
guys
out.
who's, yeah, okay. Which means the money won't come till next year. So it's a next year project we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, and the money comes from the federal government through the county to us, essentially. And the last, when we applied for a 21 grant, got it, but by the time the federal government got their act together and released the money, it was too late to do the project in 22, so it got pushed into 23.
Which turned out to be convenient because we were able to do both sections at the same time.
Yeah, that was fine, but I'm just saying this program is not just contingent on the county doing their job, it's on the federal government having the money available. So since we're working with grant money, and it's not going to be, you cannot do a project, even though we'd love to start next year and just do it. But if you can't do the project and then apply for the grant and say, well, we would have qualified, it doesn't work that way.
I understand that, right.
You've got to get all of your ducks in a row and make sure that, and I've been assured by people in county that they're behind it. They just need the paperwork and need the proper steps being taken. So.
All right, so that's one of the things we'll be working on together. Okay, good. Next one is just the status of the sidewalk connection between Maple Avenue and Franklin. How's that going?
I think he's going to be pulling up Friday to
Is that
start, Friday or Monday early next week.
All right,
so
good.
We'll be starting that. I was up there, still Mike up there, but I was up there trimming branches back for the sidewalk to come through.
All right.
And I spoke with Kevin at the top of the avenue
Okay.
because he had a question about one of the bushes there, and I told him that if he got permission, I'd move it, just to get help everybody out
All right,
and make
fine.
him happy.
So just so you know, this is the path going from the sidewalk at the top of Franklin on the north side, connecting to the turnaround on Maple Avenue. So we're going to have a concrete walkway going there. Courtesy of True Garden, by the way. That's how we're getting the funds for that. So I'll be anxious to have that happen. Okay,
Yeah, good.
Any questions about that?
Just want to commend you for doing it as a walker in the village. And I mean, I walk that route every single day, and without fail, I pass people on that same route.
Yeah.
And right now it's fine, but come spring, fall, it
It's
gets
a little muddy.
muddy, so I commend you for doing it. Thank you.
It's fine now? I'm surprised. Okay.
Well, it's
I've never
fine.
gone on it, it's been fine.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's probably one of the most walked paths in the village, so.
Yeah. Well, it shows from the track, yeah.
Foot traffic.
That's why it's all muddy all the time. So we're gonna get that taken care of. Okay, next thing is the proposal, we discussed it last month, converting the streetlights, Mike, to LEDs.
Correct.
Can you just rehash the proposal?
Sure. I'm just bringing something up because I have some details that I wanted to be able to bring up that I think might be helpful. So just give me a second here. Okay, good. All right. What we're trying to do is Central Hudson owns the street lights. They own the poles, they own the lights themselves. And working with one of the smart communities and working with Mid-Hudson Regional Council with one of the committees that they work through, we found out that if we convert our lights from the current sodium-based to LEDs, that we can, over a 3-year period, there are 75 of them, over a 3-year period, we can, in savings for electricity, actually recover the full cost of the project within that period of time. So we've been trying to get this done for quite a while, but essentially the figure of cost for the project is $8,758.12, and we'll make that back at an annual savings of approximately $3,000 a year in energy savings. So we want to be able to do that. I'm going to make a motion in a minute, but the other issue is when we talked, I spoke to Brian, I said it's very important that we don't end up with a difference in lighting than we presently have, and he assured me that he would. I have some details on my phone here that he forwarded to me yesterday, literally, that show the degree of lumens that will be done on different places, and that most of the street lights are going to be to I believe a 25 watt level, but the amount of lumens will be consistent with what they are right now. We're not going to get an increase. We're not going to have a glare or something that's going to be a spotlight that's going to blind someone driving down the street. The other issue with lumens that I think people have to understand is that there are people who would like everything from dark sky and no light to something extremely bright because they have difficulty driving at night and would like it as bright as possible. So in my mind, and this is my personal opinion, in my mind, since we've not had anyone approach the village in the last dozen years saying they are unhappy with the lighting around the village in terms of too bright, too dull, or whatever, if we have a commitment from Central Hudson to keep it as it is, other than checking out the details, then we will do so, and I'll be happy to share that, especially with Heather, who has shown up, who has some expertise in that area, and I can show you the email that you're welcome to read, and if we have any issues with that, we can basically have these installation done as soon as we sign a memorandum of understanding and give the mayor permission to sign after the motion is passed.
All right, so first, any questions from the public regarding that? Sure.
Go ahead.
Lumens is one thing, there's also color temperature.
That's color, yeah.
Which LED varies widely, and you get a lot of lumens at a high temperature, which is a very blue light, which is awful. So I would say that, if we go forward, shop around and make sure that we don't just have the equivalent lumens, but we also have a warmer color temperature, which makes a very big difference.
I agree too.
I would actually say that lumens is probably like the least important factor to be looking at. There's a color temperature, there's upgrading, backlighting, uplighting, and glare. Are they gonna, is Central Hudson just changing out the bulbs in the existing fixtures, or are they replacing the tops of the, what's on the pole, like the actual fixture?
They're not, as far as I know, they're not replacing the actual fixture, they're replacing that. I'm not sure if they have to replace any of the infrastructure, the wiring or whatever to accommodate the, what's on the poles currently.
Okay.
But it's,
'Cause I would have to take another look, but I think we have some of the old acorn styles, which are actually clear on top, which are not are really great because they go a lot of way up also. It would just be nice to know from Central Hudson what if there are other, if there's any flexibility to sort of be improving what the actual design and light shed from the fixture would be. And I'm well versed in reading lighting plans, so if that's what he sent you, if he sent you fixture specifications or lighting plans, I can help interpret them, so I'd be happy to.
okay, well, I've got right here basically what he's talking about without just reading it. If you look at it and you study it and then give us some feedback, that's fine.
Sure.
In terms of
The recommendations, yeah.
and recommendations.
Send them to both Heather and to Doug. I just do input.
Yeah, okay.
That's
Is it
fine.
cost per light fixture, or is it the total cost? That's the
Total cost,
Total cost.
$8,000.
yes.
$8,800 to replace 75 bulbs with LED.
It seems very inexpensive.
Yes.
Yeah, their original quote was double that, and we balked and said no, that we can't do that. And then we got back, well, we looked at it better, and we have it down to this, but that's about the best we can do.
Well, they dropped it from 12,000 down to 8,800.
Yeah.
And the savings per year is estimated to be 3,300,
Right.
3,100 per year. So that's why it's a 3-year turnaround.
And so this is every fixture through the village, so it's
No.
No.
Every Central Hudson.
Entry Central Hudson fixture. Entry every Central Hudson figure. What we're hoping to do, and Tim can correct me if I misspeak, but what I'm hoping is that we're working through the Mid-Hudson Regional Council, and then their clean energy communities aspect of it will give you a grant if you have a certain percentage of your bulbs, both Central Hudson owned and privately owned, to at least 50%. We will be beyond that figure if we do this proposal, and that coupled with benchmarking and with two other things that we have already completed will be available to have a $5,000 grant given to us. So we're also exploring having Mike Schultz give us an estimate on being able to convert any of the ornamental lighting that's owned by, I guess, Tribute Gardens, but we pay the electricity for, to be able to then convert those lights that are ornamental and may have sodium bulbs to LEDs. So we'll be hopefully 100% LED by the time we're all done, and we'll have it at a considerable.
Mike Schultz says he's been replacing the sodium bulbs with LEDs as they've been failing. And I asked him to give us an audit reading in terms of which ones remain.
Right.
So we can better understand how many more we have to do and how much of that $5,000 grant we get will apply.
Yeah. So it's all trying to be climate smart. It's all trying to be progressive and getting the lighting we should have in the village, and hopefully if we have grant money left over, we can apply that towards interior lighting in one of the village buildings as well. It still needs to have that done. We already have the LEDs here. We have it in the highway. And
yeah, I did, when I was asking, I didn't mean like interior stuff. I just meant, are there street lights that are not Central Hudson street lights? Or is every light that's a street light in the village part of this 75? I don't know.
No, it's not every light, because some of the lights, let's say on the green out there, they are not Central Hudson lights. They are owned by Tribute Gardens.
So wait, Mike, the 75 we're talking about are all Central Hudson owned.
Yes.
Right.
75 we're talking about.
So those 75 are all Central Hudson owned.
So up and down most of the streets, if it's not around the
Throughout the
gardens,
village,
it's
yes.
probably.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a grand total of 30 lights that are not Central Hudson owned, that are privately owned. They're owned either by, we don't know.
The decorative light.
The decorative light.
We don't.
I'm just particularly concerned because there's a giant light pole outside my bedroom window.
No.
And I really don't want to have something awful shining in It's because it's very tall. It's one of those like Cobra style ones that
Yeah,
you
that's
see on the highways.
Well, that's it, but
That's what we're talking about.
most of the Cobra lights is, you would name them, which is probably accurate, are the ones that are Central Hudson all down the street lights.
Yeah, and
All right,
so
so-
the design of that light fixture is gonna make it really important to get the right LED bulb, because it's not set up to
All right, so
it's not a
fine.
great fixture.
So Mike, you'll forward the information to both
Yes.
Heather and Doug,
Right.
all right?
Just make sure I have both of your emails so I can do that, please,
And
before you leave. And I have yours, yeah. Doug, please, okay.
Okay, and then we can have it on the agenda for next month. As far as the funding, I want to ask the board, my proposal for the $8,800 upfront we have to pay Central Hudson, I'd like to use half of the H&O trust account, because it's not in the budget. So what about using half of the H&O trust account here, which is now $18,000 to fund this?
Yeah, I don't know.
We can actually do a resolution for it next week, but just for the initial feedback from the board.
Yeah, I was gonna make a motion, but you can guide me with this, that we give you permission to have Central Hudson go ahead and do the project at the cost mentioned, $8,758.12, because once we make the motion, they will generate a memorandum of understanding, and then you can sign it, and then we proceed with the detail being ironed out as to exactly what bulbs we're getting. So to speak, so that we make sure we're not getting something that people are gonna be then coming back and saying, they put in the wrong ones or something. You want me to make that motion now?
What do you guys think? We can do it now, or we can wait till next month. What you're saying, Mike, is make the motion so that I can sign the MOU to get the
Yeah.
process started?
Exactly. I don't know that we need a resolution at this point,
Yeah.
unless Sarah, can tell us otherwise. I don't think so. We don't need do we need a resolution, Ian?
What to do?
This is for us to charge Central Hudson to replace 75 of the streetlights with sodium films with LEDs. Replace the
I mean,
LED.
you could do it by motion, but it
Okay.
should be determination of the board.
Yes, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I meant, yeah.
I want to first know that the board's okay with using the H&O trust funds to pay for this, since it's an out-of-budget item. Any questions or comments about
Is there an
that?
alternative or no?
I'm sorry?
What's the alternative?
The alternative is we could just say it's a budget adder, and we'll find something along the way. If it was early, it was late, it was further into the year, we probably would have found something by now. You know, that we could say, look, we can be under this, so we can use it there. Right now, it's too early for me to say that. So my proposal is, let's use the H&O trust account for money.
Sounds fine.
You okay with that?
That's good.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
All right, so Mike, make the proposal then.
Yeah, okay, so.
And again, this is gonna depend on feedback from the public regarding the issues that they raised. So we're not gonna make it official until we have a meeting next month. I just wanna be able to start the MOU process.
Yeah, okay. So I make a motion to approve Central Hudson to convert 75 of their own lights to LEDs at a final cost of $8,758.12. I also move to give the mayor authority to sign the memorandum of understanding when it is sent to the village of Millville.
Can we ask me just do the second part? I wanna have a motion just to say, give me the authority to sign the MOU to start the process now. And then we'll have a resolution, or a motion next month to actually sign the go-ahead.
Okay, I wasn't sure if the memorandum of understanding may have the dollar amount, that's the reason why I put it in there, but you know, whatever, whichever you prefer.
I thought it was a two-step process. First we sign the MOU, and then we actually sign a contract. Isn't that the way it goes?
I don't know if we're gonna get a contract, you know, but a memorandum of understanding in my mind would be the equivalent of a contract.
Peter?
I'm sure you'll get a contract.
Separate.
Yeah.
That's what I think. So,
Okay, all right.
So I'd like the approval to just sign the MOU to start the process.
All right, so I'll make the motion to give the mayor authority to sign the memorandum of understanding when it's sent to the village of Millville.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Trustee Grohl, the tennis fence.
Yes, so the bottom part of the tennis court fence has been kind of curling up and
For a while.
a couple of years, at least since 2020.
Yep.
Balls are lost, players are upset, etc. So we got 3 quotes to basically just fix that bottom part, install a new bottom rail, tighten it up a little bit. We received quotes from Salem Fence, Adams, and Oval. Basically, their scope of work was essentially the same, which is about 460 feet of new bottom rail. Salem also included 50 foot of 2-foot fence near the backboards where there's issues there with balls getting lost. That being said, Salem is the high bid at $79.50, Adams is at $67.39, and Oval is at $7,200. Again, Adams and Oval are pretty much the same proposal. Salem has this additional fence part that will help with the backboard issue. If we didn't do that, we were going to talk to Bob about having his guys maybe fix something there, but I think that's probably a more permanent, better solution.
I like that.
It's coming up to our 8K and
Yeah, so the story is we put in the budget, $4,000 a year, last year and now this year, so there's now $8,000 available for tennis upgrade. So it fits quite perfectly. So is that what you want to go with?
I'm not an expert. I mean, it's seemingly a good solution.
Okay.
And if anybody has a different suggestion, I'm certainly all ears. But
Anybody in the public? Yes.
The Adams is the low bid, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Suppose you ask them to just quick give you what additional cost would it be if they did the same thing that we proposed by the other.
I don't know if is that fair to do that? No.
Yeah, but then you're comparing apples and oranges.
Well.
No, but once you've opened up bids and once you said bids, then you go back to one of the people who did bid and
I think that gets messy because it sounds like we're giving preference.
Yeah.
You know.
We have to kind of start the process over again.
Yeah.
I understand. I think I understand what we're trying to do, which would be, save us a few bucks. But once you get bid, you're supposed to open them and then go with what's there, because the one.
And the fact that we didn't ourselves say in the quote to cover what they did, it's kind of like they on their own proposed that. But it turns out it's a smart.
Well, you didn't specify the scope of work.
No.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Barring anything else, I mean, I think having a more permanent fix for the backboards, I think it would be helpful for residents and players. So I would make a proposal that we accept the Salem bid at $79.50.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Give them the go ahead. Good.
Do you want to speak to the Salem people? I never spoke to them. You want me to?
Well, that's what you called me, right? I can do that. Why don't you do it?
Okay.
Did I send you the note with the information?
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, you okay with that, right?
Yeah, if we could just get those quotes.
Yeah, actually,
for our
I think
records.
Peter's got them, right?
Yeah, we just need them for the records.
Forward them to you.
Yeah. Okay, great. Next thing is a proposal to update the zoning law for keeping the thoroughfare clear. Trustee Herzog, you're again on that. That's something we have here, right?
This is something we've been talking about for, seems like, decades now. Everything from, steep driveways that are dirt driveways, rock and dirt spilling into village roads, to sump pumps being emptied into village roads, creating, icing and water hazards. So as a quick summary, this is meant to deal with that in a way that we didn't have the ability to do so before.
So we have a resolution, which is an update to the zoning code, which requires now a public hearing, right? And so how do we introduce this, Ian?
This is just, you adopt this resolution to introduce the local law. You'll schedule a public hearing for I assume your next meeting, July 10th. You should make referral to Dutchess County Planning, and even though this isn't technically it's not your zoning law, it's a separate chapter.
Oh, it is.
make the,
Oh, what chapter is it in?
chapter 79. You have a
Oh.
separate code section for,
Okay, all right.
in any case, it can't hurt to make the referral. Dutchess County Planning is probably not going to have any comment. But schedule the public hearing for your July 10th meeting. And if you want, I can summarize the resolution. I think everyone got it ahead of time. But it's resolution amending or introducing a local law to amend chapter 79 of the village code, which is entitled Brush, Grass, and Weeds. It provides that for residents of the village, imposes standards on your lawn, grass, brush, and weeds, keeping grass at a certain length, keeping it free of brush and weeds.
Well, that's already in there, right?
That is
This is
already in
additional.
there. This is an amendment that will introduce new sections that will also require residents to prevent water and gravel from washing out from their property onto the adjacent village road.
Village roads, right, okay.
Or I should say public road, could be a state or county
Okay.
road.
All right.
And it imposes the same penalty provisions that apply to currently to brush, grass, and debris, which is, or I should say brush, grass, and weeds, which is, it gives the village the authority to take self-help, remedy the problem, and then assess the cost to the adjacent property.
Any questions from the trustees about this?
My question,
Yeah.
obviously, our current procedure is to inform the homeowner that they have a dangerous situation and that they have to take whatever steps necessary to be able to correct it. And then we don't impose fines, but is there any language we need to add to be specific on the procedures with this? Because sending them a letter is kind of a policy, but it's not part of any law. So
If you look at 79.4 on section 2, Mike, if the owner doesn't perform the work that we request within 5 days after appropriate notice, we may perform the work and then bill them and collect the same amount from their tax bill. So
It
that's
still requires notice, prior notice, and then
Okay.
if they don't comply, then you can remedy, the village can take steps to remedy the condition and assess the cost to the adjacent property owner.
okay, well that's kind of in concert with the spirit of what we're doing right now. If someone puts out a pile of brush on
Right.
it, which Bob is used to, and says, well, I put it out, but I didn't put it out during the appropriate time of year, and I'm not gonna deal with it, then we have the ability to do that now, and have on occasion,
And bill them for it.
and they just bill them for it, okay, all right.
Any questions from the public regarding this proposed resolution? Okay, so then,
Just need a motion and a second to
all right, so
adopt,
Kate,
make that
you make a
motion.
motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We need a vote on this?
and then a vote.
A vote. Sarah?
Mayor Cowley,
Here, aye.
Trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Trustee Contino, absent. Trustee Doro,
Aye.
and Trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Okay. Good. That's step one. You have notices for a public hearing next month. Okay, next one. Trustee Doro again, this proposed moratorium.
okay.
Now, we were gonna just talk about this, or do we actually have a resolution to
We have a resolution.
All right.
As discussed in at least last month, if not definitely starting last month, there are some larger parcels in the village that are possibly up for sale and potentially development in the future. One of those being Hitchcock. Hitchcock is in the RLD district. It's over 100 acres. I think it's about 180 acres over there. Also within our aquifer zone. The RLD district also includes houses on, Nine Partners Lane. So there's a vast difference in kind of environment between the smaller parcels and Hitchcock. I believe there's 2 acre zoning in the RLD district.
Right.
So I am proposing a moratorium of development and other subdevelopments in the RLD district for a period of at least 6 months while we explore what can be done to possibly increase the minimum lot acreage and amend other density requirements for differentiating, large parcels and smaller parcels in the RLD district.
Okay. And by the way, I was able to pull up the map, just so people know what we're talking about. I don't know if you can see this. What Trustee Gore was talking about is these green areas up here, which is the Hitchcock area, and then down here, which is from like the golf course over to 9 Partners. That's 9 Partners right there. So as you just said, there's a lot of this RLD district. The concern is this, what's going to happen up here. And so the question is how we might want to parse this and use to possibly make a new zone, right?
We'll speak to, Ian and Josh on this.
Okay.
If anything, that parcel is much more similar to the Thorn parcel, which is I think RU rural, than it is to a house on 9 Partners Lane.
Right. Yeah. So maybe there's a way to make a distinction there.
But until you know more, it's hard to make that's why we're doing this.
The idea is to have a moratorium first, so there's time to work on it. Basically put a freeze on that and propose development.
And to be clear, I spoke to the chair of the planning board. There's no current applications pending. No one's going to be affected by this, and that is currently under consideration. And Ian, correct me if I'm wrong, run-of-the-mill building permits and things like that won't be affected. This is strictly subdevelopments and more complex projects that will come
I did include in the form that I use provision that says the building and code enforcement officer shall not issue any building permit or other permits which will allow the construction of new structures or the development of new subdivisions on properties within the RLD zoning district. So I wasn't sure what.
Is that too restrictive?
I mean, it's, by law, it's not. The idea is that you want time to study and make a determination whether or not you need to make any changes in the zoning, any changes to the zoning law in this particular zoning district. So you just put a freeze temporarily, but it's up to you whether you want to include that.
I'm not an expert, so I was deferring to counsel.
Yes. So the reason, my understanding is the concern is whether you may have to change the density requirements.
Right.
And so if you I don't know exactly what it is now, 1 acre zoning.
2 acre.
2 acre zoning, you may want to increase it to
5,
10 acre or
10.
5,
Yeah.
well, 5 acre zoning. And you have somebody that has a 2 acre lot and they want to build a house on it. Do you want them to be able to do that right now while you're studying this issue? Because they would then be able to.
That sounds like that's in direct contrast to the purpose of the moratorium.
Well, that's the idea. That's why I included
Right.
it. That you put a complete freeze, essentially. Now, there is also provision for hardship. And anybody that claims to have a hardship, they can apply to the village board for essentially a variance.
To the village board or to the ZBA?
I put to the village board because you're opposing the.
Yeah, okay.
My thought was if somebody wants to put a fence up or build a pool
garage,
that they would be allowed to.
They should be able to do that.
If it can't be structured that way, then I'll defer to the experts. I don't know.
Well, it says to build a structure for that would allow construction of new structures or the development of new subdivisions.
I mean, in the beginning, it says site plan, special use permit, variance, and subdivision. So that's what I was sort of thinking about.
Yeah, no,
And if, again, if we
subdivision
can't, the language doesn't work to, it has to be more restrictive, then I guess it has, but I don't know.
Can I ask you?
Yes. Someone say something?
So
Go ahead.
the agenda says the RU district, proposed development moratorium for RU district. You mentioned RLD.
It's supposed to be RLD.
Okay.
That's my error.
So your concern is one particular parcel, but you're putting a moratorium on the zone that's in to contemplate changing the particulars of the RLD zone because you're concerned about the potential density on the one large parcel?
Well, the rules would apply to all of the properties within that zoning district.
Well, that was going to be my point. If you're looking at RLD, which is a 2-acre zone, and you decide to make it a 5-acre zone, every existing parcel with a home on it now becomes non-conforming.
Well, that's why we're imposing a moratorium to explore the issue, not to make any decisions.
Yeah.
I would assume you would grandfather in what's already there.
Correct.
Well, no, they become non-conforming, and then
Well,
they have to be treated under the non-conforming regulations in your zoning.
That's correct. They would be legal, not pre-existing non-conforming.
And that's not the intention of this. The intention of this is to look at that one particular district and parcel or parcels and either move them into a different parcel that's more like rural, RU, or create a new district.
And are you concerned at all about targeting one parcel? The optics of
About charging what?
about the optics of targeting a single parcel just because it's large. I don't know.
I'm certainly concerned about what might happen to that large parcel from a development point of view if it was sold. That's where the concern comes from.
There's nothing wrong with the board doing what it's doing, and the issue arises because of one parcel that brings us to light. But what you're doing is a moratorium to give you time to look at these issues. As Peter said, it may require changing the zoning districts.
Or even
you're
adding
doing is basically it's a temporary freeze on development while you investigate, study, look at what these issues are and whether you need to make changes. You may decide that there is nothing that needs to be changed.
Personally, I'd like it to be more restricted at this time, for the sake of just,
But again, you have the provision that says if there is a hardship, you can consider that.
Can I also offer that you might be able to craft the language to make exceptions for building permits related to accessory things like
Garages. I agree with that. Garages.
If we have to amend, if we can amend it and make it slightly less restrictive in some of these more ordinary applications, I'd rather wait a month to do
all right,
that.
fine. So what you're suggesting is that we do not modify this to allow.
I think it should be pretty much geared towards
I'm going
Site
to walk
plans.
off into the sunset.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
You're still here through Monday. You probably didn't hear that. Anyway.
I think it should be limited to site plans and subdivision approvals, probably.
Oh,
But again, let's take a little more time and make sure the language
how about that, Ian?
satisfies.
Yeah, I mean, I
the
could
board.
cross out that one provision.
It might just be that little bit of number 2.
Okay.
Number 2 or number 3.
For the construction of a single-family home by itself, it's never going to require any of those permissions that you rattled off. You don't have to get site plan approval to build a single home. Now, if you're going to subdivide a larger parcel into multiple smaller lots, that would be captured by that. But if somebody wants to build a house on an existing lot, they don't need any of the permissions that you've listed there. But then you have said later on that the building permit for a structure would not be allowed, so it seems a little contradictory.
We'll take some more, let's take another month
Okay,
and look
fine.
at it.
But in general, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that parcel and make sure they're not allowed to go and create from 185 acres, where they said it was, into
20 houses.
185 parcels. That's what we don't want.
Or any other large parcels. This is
Yeah.
not specifically focused on one parcel, but
Okay,
we're thinking about certain ones.
all right.
Are there other large parcels that are in the RLD district?
Probably
Nine Partners
not
has
like
got
100
some.
plus acres, but
There's some on that.
Yeah, there's some large parcels down here,
Yeah.
but I can't tell you, what their range is.
Larger than 2 acres?
Probably,
Sure.
probably.
If that's 180 up top, look what that is now.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of houses in there too.
Yeah.
But there are some large lots there. So, yeah. Okay, so we'll table this and Ian will work on the language for the discussion with Trustee Doral. All right, good first discussion, appreciate that. Okay, next one is the benchmarking resolution. So Trustee Herzog, we don't have the resolution ready for board review yet. I just want you to give us a verbal update on what we're doing with the Climate Smart Communities work to complete to get bronze certification.
Okay, I have both.
Okay, fine, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just gonna give a very brief, just one side of the page, what we're talking about with benchmarking, okay? So let's start with that. Genevieve Glasson compiled and filed a greenhouse gas inventory for all of our village buildings, okay? It involved calculating use of electricity, fuel, heating oil, and how those figures translated to emissions from the environment and how much carbon they generate from our figures in 2022, okay? We did that as one of the things that we could do to be able to establish some kind of a baseline as to currently how we're using energy in those areas. Now, since then, because she used 2022 figures for the year 2022, which is post-COVID, so we wanted to make sure it was active. Since then, in 2024, she took the same areas, how much we're spending on electricity, fuel, and heating oil, and did a benchmarking, which is basically just 3 buildings and being able to say, this is how much we spent in each building in each, and that's called benchmarking, all right?
The Village Hall, this one here, and the sewer plant.
Sewer plant.
Okay.
Okay, and the point of it is basically what you're doing is you're establishing a set of figures that then can be published and given to the public so they know what you're spending on your energy. And secondly, you start to look at trends that may be popping up. Now, since we took in our Climate Smart Community Pledge, in the pledge it said we were going to do what we could to reduce our carbon emissions if possible by taking the steps necessary to look at more green technology and things of that nature. All right. Now, what we want the resolution to say is that, and this is being asked for by the same people who are giving us potentially a grant to to use for different improvements. The resolution is going to say that we'll continue to track those things and be able to publish those figures once they're tracked. Okay.
On like an annual basis.
Yeah, on an annual, and do it on an annual basis. So the annual information would be posted on the website for public view. Increases and decreases in these areas is bound to happen for any one of a number of reasons. But publishing results doesn't come with any negative consequences or any repercussions. In other words, knowing from the DEC or from any other government agency is going to come and say, well, how come your electricity went up 5% or down 5%? Okay, it's just having the stuff out there. The effort of benchmarking shows a clear indication that the village is aware of our energy consumption, and as a community that who's taken the CSC pledge, we're committed to reducing a carbon footprint in the future through whatever means are feasible. Agencies evaluating grants look for these kind of commitments, like a resolution like that, as a sign of good faith by the municipality that they're gonna continue as a climate smart community in the future. So what a benchmarking resolution of the kind that we're being asked to do by the Hudson Valley Regional Council is essentially the fact that we're gonna say, we will continue to keep track of these figures, find out how much annually we're spending, and just keep a record of it and release that record to the public. And that's it. I've got a commitment from Genevieve, who has done all the work on this, to continue to do work on this to help Nicole or Sarah or whoever in the future may have to, you know, because we use all of the bills from Central Hudson and Daily Fuel and those things to be able to prepare the report every year. So it's not like we're going to be throwing this in the lap of the office and then saying, here, do this, okay? There'll be help. And as I pointed out, when we're applying for grants and when grants are available, this is exactly the kind of resolution that they want to see that says, yeah, you're a climate smart community and continuing to do it. And that's it. There's no hammer that's going to come down if the results are one way or the other or whatever. It's just that we're tracking. So I want to be able to introduce that resolution. Elizabeth Sung from Regional Council, as well as Melanie Patapis, who's been working with us through the Climate Smart Communities, has said they will come and answer any questions that we might have, and also examples of what would be necessary, but at the same time make it very clear that this is, to make sure that the general public as well as the board is comfortable being able to pass the resolution, and it's not a setup of some kind. So.
All right, so I was interested in climate smart communities because of all the grants that make available to us. Right. To get the grants, we need to show conformance to their standards, which includes this. So it kind of goes hand in hand. My question to the board is, what do you think about this, as far as something we pursue? I want to make sure that we started. She did the benchmarking last year. Right? I guess for this year, we don't need to do it till next year.
Right.
I want to make sure there's continuity and support for this. So I talked to Peter about it.
And I spoke to Genevieve today, actually.
Oh, okay.
So happy to step up.
Okay, fine.
In any interim period.
Now, Mike, you were going to follow up with another member of the task force to see if they're interested in taking the reins from Genevieve when she moves on, right?
Right.
Is that still going to happen?
Yes, I contacted that person. That person's currently in Alaska on work and on business. And he's going to get back to me at his nearest opportunity.
All right, fine. Let's do that first.
Yeah.
And I told her to start recruiting other people to help out on that team as well.
Good idea.
We did have one other person who stepped up, a recent graduate of FIT, Mia Quinn, who has been spending the last 3 days with us, going through all the pledge elements, and we feel we're satisfied, and sitting there typing her fingers off, trying to submit all the data and the downloads.
And this is all towards getting the bronze certification,
yes,
which is good. I think you have a goal this year trying to get that work with the Gen.
Absolutely.
I'd like to follow through on that.
Yeah,
okay.
And right now, as of this afternoon, we have 60 solid points that have been uploaded and ready for. They don't review them one pledge element at a time. They review them when you put in the application for the whole 120. And according to Genevieve, she said she thinks she has 137 points.
All right, good.
Ready to go. So we'll see when we finish
We need
this process.
120 for bronze certification, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's get that. That's a good goal to go for.
So I'm hoping maybe by the end of the summer, as early as that.
All right, it's good update. Okay, public comment. Any other questions or comments from the public? All right, let's go through. Mayor, anything else you want to talk about? Can there possibly be anything else?
I don't know. I think we pretty much covered all the bases here.
All right, good. Trustee Herzog.
The only thing I wanted to add to that last statement is that the town of Washington has shown interest in joining us in a joint filing for the bronze, and they were also interested in potentially sitting down and seeing if we want to enter into a source protection, going to a source protection plan to update the one that is currently from 1988, which is pretty old and might need some twerking, and they want to work on that. And they said I would get back to them after.
I'd like to see from you and Jenna a list of pros and cons of living with town of Washington. If there's really resources they can apply to help our job go further, easier, I like it. The other
Yeah.
side, I'm concerned about.
Me too.
Okay, all right, fine.
Yeah, we have to get more specific. So I
Good.
think that's, you
All
know,
right.
this could be a way for the town to simply go along for the ride.
Yeah, well, you did the legwork.
Where we do all the work, or
All right, fine.
excuse me,
So
work we've
we're not
already done, or they could be very helpful.
Okay, and I'm happy to be with you in any of those discussions if you want me.
Okay.
And Trustee Doyle, anything else from you?
No.
One other comment I just forgot when the chief was here, I sent you all an update on what's going on with Lexapol. We're making a lot of good progress. I told you we've now done 100 chapters, all right? Now, does the board, what kind of approval does the board want? Really, we've been going through this process and asking for the board's approval prior for us to disseminate them to the police to accept them. And I sent you the total, and listed the names, chapters there. Any more detail you want on this?
Not if you and Ricky are doing this hand in hand with Jared.
We are.
That's enough board supervision for me. I don't need to rubber stamp, because the thing we're gonna come out with could be as thick as a telephone.
Mhm, right.
You know, and I don't mind reading it, but I think it would be laborious and probably, you know. not
Well, I gotta tell you that
to
for
do
me,
that.
it's very eye-opening, all the responsibilities incorporated in the police department when you do it right. And I've depended on Sergeant Witt as well as Trustee Contino to give us insight in terms of just what they're talking about and what it means. And so we've not done a lot of, there are some things we've asked to be considered, included. But basically, it's the police who are making the calls. And so we're just there as kind of a check and balance to make sure what they're doing makes sense from we can actually do that as a police department versus we can't, and so don't put it in there if you can't.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is essential to get done,
Yeah,
because
right.
this goes back to the police reform measures that we accepted and then sent to Albany and said we're doing this and this and this and this,
Okay.
and updating that manual, which has been updated in decades, was part of it. So we're committed to getting it done.
Right.
So
All right,
think
so
the
then,
most
is the board okay with
expeditious way
just
possible.
by Trustee Contino and myself reviewing and approving, that's sufficient?
That's
Okay.
sufficient.
More than enough.
Okay, fine. Okay, good. Anything else to discuss tonight?
No.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good meeting, thanks so much. Ian, it's good to have you back in the meeting.
Yes.
Welcome aboard.
Your turn.